You're listening to Turi Writer's She Said What podcast. I'm Turi, along with Marcy Persky. In this installment, grown-ups with the sense of humor of an 8-year-old. Marcy has 9 plagues to go, and what happens when you ignore the best possible advice. I'm having a day now where I have no sense of humor at all. It's just gone, just vanished over the horizon.
Are you living in despair? What's going on?
Well, I put my fingers in my ears and went la 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 for the longest time about my arm.
Yeah, I know, and I kept telling you to go get it x-rayed. You have to listen to the expert of the wrist.
Everyone told me to get it x-rayed. My husband told me to get... Okay, so for those who don't know, I had a broken arm, and after a period of weeks and a cast and a splint and PT, it got better, right? And at the same hospital campus, the very same freaking hospital campus, I had a follow-up visit for something else in a brand new building with a big fat sign and a curb that they had not marked. And I tripped on their unmarked curb and I fell on both my hands, and I did not wish to admit that anything was wrong. I didn't want to do it.
Sue the hospital.
I'm not suing anybody.
Have you revealed yet that your wrist is actually fractured?
Everybody I know told me to get an x-ray. I ignored, and finally I had a completely different appointment and said, while I'm here, do you mind if I go down and get an x-ray? She said, sure, I'll write the order. And then I didn't even understand what the message was. It was like, could be this, could be that. So I have to write to my regular doctor going, what does the radiologist mean? And she writes back, your wrist is fractured.
Has it healed by now?
I have no freaking... No, as of yesterday, it was fractured. Day before yesterday, I got the x-ray. And today I tried to chop carrots and went, holy smokes, that still hurts.
Yeah.
And I'm such an idiot that the moral of the story to me was, I just don't chop carrots.
I relate. I relate.
Just don't
Every
chop
time I
carrots.
get a CAT scan, they remind me that my ribs are fractured.
Yeah.
Maybe you need a walker with like little flags and balloons and everything so you can be fancy.
Oh, God. So now I've had the sense of humor sucked out of me completely. Just deflated, completely deflated.
Well, I've been playing detective here all day because we have been invaded by a plague of grasshoppers. And I need to know who is bringing these plagues down and wants to go. So I gathered my dogs and I said, do you guys want to go? And they all just looked at me. I went out to the goats, asked them if they wanted to go. And they ate my dress and my hair.
You realize this makes you Pharaoh, don't you?
Let it be written, let it be done.
Where is your pyramid? If you're going to be the recipient of the plagues, find your happy pyramid place and sit in there.
Al Pacino had a baby today with his 29-year-old girlfriend.
I'm trying to figure out the connection here. Babies as plague, ancient as Egypt.
He's 83. The baby's name is Roman Pacino. It's money. How stupid can he be?
Ancient and money. Well, you've answered your question. He's 83 years old.
This kid has no dad. This kid isn't going to know his dad.
I don't know.
Unless Al Pacino is going to live to be 100.
He might. He might live to be 100. He's Al Pacino.
Still, ew. When I was 23, I didn't, or 29, 83-year-old men were like, ew.
Maybe he spreads $100 bills all over the bed and it turns her on.
Dude, still, ew.
Well, that's
There's
you.
certain things that money can't buy.
No,
That's one of them.
There are things that money can absolutely buy. It lends a whole new meaning to the term anchor baby.
True. That's true, but still, 29 and 83.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. There was, what was it? Was it
Anna
Sumner?
Nicole Smith?
Yeah, Sumner Reds. Jerry Hall can pick them. She keeps picking, like, she had one little slip where she picked Mick Jagger for a while. And then she went right back to type and picked guys who were not only rich, but also like 60 years older than she is.
True. And then we've got Madonna doing the reverse. I think her last boyfriend was a teenager or something.
And then there's Edie Brickell and Paul Simon. He's like 80.
Are they that big? Is there all that much difference?
I think she's like 30 and he maybe 40.
No, she's not
You
30.
can look her up. She's at least 25 years
She's
younger.
old.
She's at least 25 years younger than he is.
I just saw them on TV. She didn't look 25 years younger.
Well, he just looks short, but living with Paul Simon would totally age me.
Edie Brickell. She is 57 years old.
And how old is he?
Well, now I have to look up him. Hold on. God. He's 81.
See? Not quite 30 years, but close to it.
I just saw them on TV, and either she looks really bad or he looks really good, because you really can't tell that the age difference is that far spread.
Well, maybe it's just that he's short, so you're looking at the top of his head.
Stop talking about short people. I'm like 16, 17, 18, I don't know.
Yeah, but you're not
older than my husband, and I'm very short.
You're not married to an 80-something-year-old, which actually would be.
Frankie is.
Here's the horrible part for us:
Yeah.
an 80-something-year-old is bordering age appropriate now. There's a horrible thought.
Yeah.
If we'd married those guys we thought were so hot and sexy when we were 30, who seemed like they had it all together, that's how old they'd be right now. Well, yeah, you did marry a grandpa age guy one time.
Yeah, that didn't work out so well.
Well, he had so many things wrong. The age of the equipment was the least of it.
And yeah, he was missing that Al Pacino pocketbook. If you know what I mean, nudge, nudge.
Who knows what's left of Al Pacino's pocketbook?
Well, he has, I think he's got 2 other baby mamas.
Yeah, he doesn't get married, I don't think.
Yeah.
He's
No,
not.
I think that they're, I don't know.
I don't care
I just think
enough.
having a kid at 83 is really bad for the kid. I feel sorry for the kid.
Well, and then there's that music personality with like 17 kids by 12 different women. I'm not going to. I wasn't going to mention his name. And he thinks.
I'm sure he's not listening.
He thinks he's an excellent father. So.
Yeah. People are crazy now.
It's funny. The people who will go on and on about what excellent parents they are 9 times out of 10 the worst parents you can possibly imagine. And the people who are good parents, they're anxious all the time that we're crappy parents. If you're worried all the time that you suck as a parent, I'd lay you odds that you're much better than the person who goes, I'm a wonderful mom.
I almost fired off an email yesterday to my 3 oldest children that said, I'm sorry for being a crappy parent if you're having trouble in your adult lives right now. And then I started looking at their adult lives, and they all seem to be pretty well off. So I didn't send it. I erased it. But I don't know. I was just sitting on the deck thinking about I tried really hard, but I was kind of a crappy parent.
What?
In that, because I married crappy guys.
Well, you always put your kids first. You did.
I did. I do. I still do.
And you even got out of the crappy marriage for the sake of the children. The one thing you did that probably was a disaster was the second husband, who was not nice to the children. And maybe
or me
or you, and maybe you could have skedaddled a little faster, but it was a difficult exit.
Yeah,
that one. So you did your best.
It just like came into my head yesterday for some reason, which is the opposite of all these people that think that they're great parents.
I was looking at some article or website where they want to acknowledge all sorts of families. And they listed the same gender families, okay. And they listed the people who just decide to co-parent even though they're separated, and that's great.
Can't you just say everybody?
Yeah, well, I mean, by their
specific
definition,
categories?
any random collection of beings. See, I have no sense of humor today. Just grouching.
Because it's just something difficult. Someone is making everything really difficult. Just say, this is my family. It doesn't matter how many people are there, what size they are, if they're 2 boys or 2 girls, or if they're
What about the throuple? What about the throuple? Is that a family?
Well, are we for mature audiences today? because
Sure, I'll label the podcast for mature audiences. So what about
Okay.
the thruple? Are they a family or are they just nuts?
That's what I call whoring around.
Okay.
Okay.
So family with whoring. We could just put a little asterisk next to it
Yes,
and say, this is my family, asterisk, with whoring.
that's right. The whoring family. Unless, of course, your last name is whoring.
Oh my
Then
gosh.
you have an issue.
Near us, there is a shopping district that is Indian and Pakistani shopping district. And we love to walk around there and eat there and look at the amazing sari shops with the beautiful beadwork and embroidery and the really elaborate jewelry. The names of many of the stores make perfect sense to me. Sari Palace, Patel Brothers. But there's this one store. Sometimes when you come to America, you just have to think a little harder. The name of the store, I'm trying to say this with a straight face, is Hooria. Hooria. And on the one hand, you could do like a Hooria, what are ya? You could do that. Or you could remember the guy I went to college with from deepest, darkest Long Island, who, if he didn't like a woman and she slept around a lot, he'd say, yeah, she's just a hooah. A couple of hooahs. A couple of hooahs. So every time I walk past the store called Hooah, I think of that guy from Long Island. Hooah.
So if you had like a really bad last name, would you change it?
Oh, totally.
Like Dick Butkus. He was a famous football player.
Yes.
And as a kid, I could never figure out why Dick Butkus didn't change his name. And then there's a NASCAR guy. I don't know if he's still around, but his name was Dick Trickle.
Yeah, I remember that.
And
yeah.
then, like anybody whose last name is Lipschitz,
Yeah.
those kind of names,
Yeah.
I would totally 100% change my name.
I have a girlfriend who married a guy with one of those sorts of names, and they all just took her name.
That's a good idea.
I think if you've got two to choose from, choose the one that doesn't make you blush bright red when people introduce you.
Yeah. Or the one that won't get your kid beat up on the playground.
Right. Yahuwah.
Yeah,
Yahuwah.
Dick Trickle. That's my favorite.
That was a bad one. I just remember thinking, is this a joke? And I thought, you know what this is? This is his revenge on announcers.
And, yeah, true.
Who
And
had
it's one
to
of those names that I'll never forget, unfortunately. And I'm not even a NASCAR fan, but I used to watch it just to hear him say Dick Trickle.
Yeah, be
Because
glad.
I'm very mature, as we've already established.
Yes, but be glad you weren't in the booth having to say that over and over and over again.
True.
I don't know if you
Very
could ever
true.
say that name enough to be desensitized to it.
Dick Trickle.
Yeah,
Dick Trickle, Dick Trickle, Dick Trickle.
there's no
it's
way.
a good warm up.
You can't say it enough times to stop it having that little. I mean, you can stuff down that desire to laugh till stuff comes out your nose. You can suppress it for a while, but eventually it comes out.
See, I'm more of a Jimmy Fallon. I just laugh. He can never hold it in.
Oh, there are things you're not allowed to laugh at. People's names are on the list of things you're not allowed to laugh.
Sorry, Dick Trickle. He has to know his name is funny.
I'm sure he does, which is another reason why you can't laugh at it.
So he should have gone by Rick or Richard. Because isn't that what Dick is short for?
People would just know that he was trying to
Richard
avoid.
Trickle.
They
I
would.
would just change it to Trick. Trick Trickle.
I would just leave for another country where it didn't mean anything. Yeah.
I had to go look up how to get rid of 5 acres of grasshoppers.
You really have 5 acres of grasshoppers?
We literally have 5 acres of grasshoppers. They are everywhere. And it's only the beginning of June.
Go fishing.
I don't know where they came. They came up like right away.
Go fishing.
Well, Eve has a huge worm farm for that.
Who needs the worms? Just use the grasshoppers.
You got to catch them.
They're easy to catch.
Maybe if you have 2 good arms.
Oh, just rub it in, why don't you? Assuming you've come this far because you enjoy the podcast, may we recommend my book, She Said What? A Life on the Air. It's available at your neighborhood bookstore or on Amazon. And if you're feeling especially generous, please leave the podcast a good review. Thanks.